Welcome back. Our next guest came close to retiring 12 years ago, but chose not to, and has since gone on to become the greatest snooker player of all time.
And he's put pen to paper in his new memoir about his extraordinary life and career. It is, of course, Ronnie O'Sullivan. I can see your eyebrows going, ooh, yeah. I'm a bit embarrassed by that. How are you? Thank you for being here today. You've had quite the trek the last few days. You're a busy man.
I haven't stopped. Started off Thursday morning, leaving home about 10 to 6 in the morning. Done all that stuff in London, got a flight to Dublin. Got it at 7 o'clock at night, straight into the hotel. Guinness, because that's what I love, a Guinness, my favourite drink.
Right.
And I was in bed, and then we had a busy day yesterday. But it's all been fun. It's been great, you know, everyone's been fantastic. Yeah. Really enjoyed it.
And have you got a busy day today?
No, this is it. Finished now. After this, going to Belfast to watch some athletics, which is my hobby.
That's your thing?
My hobby, yeah, I love it. I watch it. I don't miss any athletics meetings. I do a bit of it myself. I can't really call myself a runner. I'm a bit of a plodder. Yeah. I'm a player horse, my mate calls me.
But on the running, though, did you feel it's good for the head?
Yeah, it's good for my head.
Yeah. What does it do for you?
I think it's just if you've got any thoughts going on that you can't quite work out, go on a run. You kind of eventually come to an answer, and even if you don't come to an answer, you just feel better about stuff anyway.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Good.
And do you run alone, or would you go with a couple of people?
Usually try and meet a friend, but quite happy to go alone as well. You know, it's one of them that you just sometimes have to motivate yourself.
What's the longest you can do?
I could
keeling over.
Probably run. I could probably do 20k if I wanted to.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, but it's more about the times, really. So, like, anyone can run a marathon, but it's the time, really.
And does that inform your actual snooker playing in any way? Has it helped with discipline or your skill or anything like that?
I think it's helped. I think, yeah, it definitely helped over the period of 20 years, I've probably got it wrong 5 or 6 times, but I could have been in a lot worse state if I hadn't had the running, you know, because I think with a snooker, it's a mental sport, and sometimes we all need an escapism. Some people drink, gamble, food, and, you know, we know where that can take you. So mine was running, so, you know, sometimes I'd overdo it and be a bit tired during my games, but I thought, that's all right, you know, I'm kind of healthy, which was the most important thing, you know.
OK. You mentioned, you know, with snooker, there's drink, there's all kinds of things floating around. It's that environment as well.
It's a cultural thing, you know.
And you did go off the rails a little bit for a while.
Yeah, because I was just surrounded by it, you know, like, you know, if you don't kind of make a plan or go, you know what, this is the nature of my job, this is where it's probably going to take me, because it took everyone else there. So I have to sometimes go against the grain, balance the books up and do the complete opposite to what snooker is. So it was outside, exercise, and it was like just balancing the books up, because I knew on the road, that temptations, and sometimes you're going to fall off the wagon, get it wrong, but as long as I've got that, you know, it's like damaged imitation in a way, and it was nice. I felt good for doing it, you know.
So when I started watching snooker first, you'd have like the likes of Hurricane Higgins with the cigarette hanging out of his mouth and a drink in the side, and it's that kind of whole smoky pool hall vibe. And you were quite young when you started playing as well. You were seen as a bit of a prodigy. So going into that atmosphere with that level of skill, I mean, look at you, you're only a baby there. I mean, was that pressure? And how did that pressure manifest itself for you?
Yeah, I mean, then it was just pure fun, you know. I just loved playing as a junior, as an amateur. Just brilliant, you know, because it was just you, and like you say, in the snooker halls and playing in competitions, you know, loved it. And then obviously when you turn professional, it's different. Then you kind of like, you read articles about yourself and you're like, really, you know what I mean? Like, they got that wrong, and then you start to think, oh, what's all this all about sometimes? So the pure snooker of it kind of gets taken over by the other side of it.
And it very much did for you as well, because you got this reputation as a very terrifying individual sometimes, which perhaps wasn't justified.
Yes, yeah, basically. That's what I say. You read stuff about yourself and you're like, oh, that's just not... I don't think that's true about myself. But and, you know, I should have maybe kind of put the record straight, showed people the real... You know, but I didn't. I just wanted to play snooker and stay out the limelight as much as I could. But that's all right. You know, I've enjoyed my life, and
that picture we saw of you as a kid playing, and you said it was for fun.
Yeah.
It stopped being fun for a while.
I think, because of the situations I got myself into, you know, and sort of like, you know, I put on a lot of weight, I was smoking, I was drinking, I was partying, I let myself go, I lost my confidence because I became reliant on drinking just to sort of socialise, and it kind of got a hold of me, and then it stopped becoming fun, and then it became fun again in 2000 once I got straight, got clean, and then I was like, OK, right, you know, snooker became fun again, you know. And
how did you do that? I mean, was there any one thing that decided I really have to put a stop to this and do something about it, or was it just the end of a long road for you?
Just the end of a long road, and just like it was just getting worse and worse, and yeah, I wasn't. I just knew it wasn't sustainable, you know. And I just thought I just want to get back to where I was when I was 15, 16. You know, just...
But you kind of have, which is a bit mad, because what age are you now? 47?
47, yeah.
And, like, that's astounding if you think, like the Stephen Hendrys of the world, etc. They've retired at 35.
Yeah.
I mean, you're better than ever now. That's pretty astounding.
Yeah, I just think because I've enjoyed it. I think I kind of like... Hendry dominated for 10 years, and I think that takes its toll. And I've sort of, like, had gaps between my wins. And it's like, so I've had like a 3-year gap year, then I come back. It's the equivalent of that, really. So like being in the spotlight, having that pressure on you year after year takes its toll. Whereas I was like out the spotlight for 2 or 3 years. Oh, Ronnie's gone, he's finished, he can't put a ball, and all of a sudden I'd win another one and I'd go, I'm back again. Do you know what I mean? And then they'd say the same again for 2 or 3 years, and I'd win one and go, oh,
hey, here I am again,
you know what I mean? So it was like, it was different, you know. My pressure was spread out over a longer period of time, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Losing now, in the past, would have it bothered you more than it does now?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But I think I've trained myself to not let it bother me, because at some point you kind of got to go, new blood's coming into the game. All I want to do is just be a nuisance now. Like every now and again, like whoever's winning, I think, okay, well, I'll get up for you, and then all of a sudden I go bang, bang, bang. I think, I'm still here. I'm not bad for an old boy. You know, I get my kicks in other ways, really, but I still want to win. But you know, I try and just be a bit more realistic about it as well.
We had Irish national archers on earlier on in the show, and they were even saying, because they were trying to teach me how to do it, didn't go too well, but it's mental for them. Most sports are 90% mental. You can have the skill, but if your head isn't in the right place, you can have all the talent in the world and it just won't work. So how is it now? Do you think you're better mentally prepared than you would have been back in the day?
I was always a good competitor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whether my head was in a good place or not, but there was some times where you just sort of like... I think it's just like pressure. You know, you put yourself under too much pressure, you're not going to perform. And it's just learning how to sort of, you know, get it right, you know, because you don't want to be too flat, because if you've got no nerves, you can't perform. And if you've got too many nerves, you can be a wit too... So it's like trying to find what's right for you.
It's boring to watch anyway, to
yeah,
we all know a couple of people like that back. I won't mention names. You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, so we just want to try and manage that, you know, and get the right balance, really, you know what I mean?
Can I ask you, is it Steve Peters?
Yeah.
No, I'd heard his name, and I think it was with Chris Hoy, Nicola Pembleton, Vicky Pembleton, sorry, and then with the Liverpool football team.
That's right, yeah.
He's in your life as well.
Yeah, he's become like a dad to me, really. You know, like such a close friendship, and I love that guy so much. You know, he's within 20 minutes, I thought, oh, this guy's different. You know, he really sort of like, we don't even talk about snooker. He just talks about how everybody's brain operates, and if you want to be a certain way, this is how to do it. And
he's a sports psychologist, isn't he?
Psychologist, yeah. So I mean, a friend of mine says most people that want to polish the car. He said this geezer gets underneath the bonnet, gets into the engine. You know, that's the difference. You know,
you could do it going back to the old Liverpool bonnet now at the moment. I'd say, but we'll say no more.
Well, he worked with the England team as well, and they had a pretty good World Cup.
But he's been great for me. You know, he's given me a way of like working it out myself. I hate relying on people, and what he does is sort of like we can all, as long as I put the work in, find out what, you know, do the right things. I've kind of like worked out the best route for me to get from A to B.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
All right, we've got some questions that we're going to give to you. Before we get to those, can I just ask you, World Championship has just finished.
Yeah.
You like the guy, who
Yeah.
beat you in the quarterfinal?
Yeah.
You say he's the best snooker player that you've played in a long time?
Most talented.
Most talented.
Most talented, yeah, I think I've ever played.
Ever?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, Jimmy White was unbelievably talented.
Yeah.
But this kid's like Jimmy White, really.
Really?
Yeah, reminds me of Jimmy White, yeah.
Okay.
Was there anyone you hated playing against? You were like, oh, God, here I go again.
Pete Rebden was my worst one. Oh.
Really?
And I like Peter as a person.
He's a nice fella.
As a player, he was just... He was like... I was like, please get this over and done with. You can have it.
I want to chat with you off air. I want to know how the bodies are paired, because I'd say you can have some conversations.
Right. It is fascinating all right. How you like? I know the season's over, so how are you going to approach it next season? Are you picking and choosing your tournaments?
I think I'm probably going to look at all my options. I think it looks like the overseas tournaments are back again because of COVID's done. So I think I'm going to play more overseas tournaments.
Right.
They're bigger tournaments.
Yeah.
So I can't play every week, so I'll probably miss more of the UK events. So at least when I come home, I've got some home time. And I'm just going to focus on playing now. I've done a lot of stuff the last year, and I just think I just want to just get back to just playing and just see where I can go with that, you know.
Okay. All right.
We've got some questions here now.
Cool.
Now there's Dan from Navan says, you travelled to the US with Matt Smith exploring the history of pool. Would you do something like that again? Did you like that?
Yes, I would. Yeah, I wouldn't do it with pool though. I'd probably do it with like something else, like running or cooking or something like
Cooking?
that. Yeah,
Cooking.
yeah, they're my two favourite things. Food,
Really?
Food and running are my favourite things. You know.
Is this World Pool Day? I think this weekend is marking World Pool Day or something.
But no, it's World Cocktail Day today. Haven't you been
well,
listening?
there's a few things.
Later on.
Okay.
Johnny says, you were an exciting player that followed in the footsteps of Hurricane Higgins, Jimmy White. What advice would you give to a player now that's struggling with concentration on a consistent basis? Not one-off nerves, but good player, but just can't get it right.
Yeah, just sort of, I don't know, because I never really have a problem with concentration because you love what you do. You sort of like, so if you've got a problem with concentration, maybe you're overthinking. I sometimes think a lot of people overthink and then you sort of like, you know, you just got to try and just flow. I always say, get in a flow, get in a rhythm, and let it all happen naturally.
Okay, Carl from Longford wants to know, you like to keep to yourself and everyone knows you as the ghost.
Yeah.
Okay. Who do you like to hang out with the most in the snooker world?
The person I like to talk to most on the snooker circuit is Jamie Jones because he's a keen runner. So we talk about our training sessions and what he's doing, what I'm doing, and you know his sort of stuff. And then other than that, it would be Jimmy White, just because he's probably the funniest person I've ever met in my life and has me in hysterics. And I just think, you know what, you can never have a bad time around Jimmy. So yeah,
he's
my
a
two
good guy.
favourite guys.
I've had the pleasure of meeting him a couple of times.
I'm too scared to meet him now after hearing all
this. He's lovely. He's lovely.
I met him when he was in Ireland touring with Alex Higgins doing exhibition matches. So you can imagine what those nights were like.
I don't want to know, do I?
Okay.
I don't think so.
Charlie Ward from Balladreen and Roscommon wants to know who's Ronnie. Well, I think we've done that. Toughest opponent was Peter Ebdon.
And Rod says, why do left-handed players invariably hold their cue in their right hand whilst playing with the rest?
I actually don't know, you know. That's a weird one.
Isn't it?
They don't all, though. I think there's one out there that's used it, because like, I was so like, why does that happen? And I was just seeing if there was a left-hander that used the rest left hand. And there is one player, I can't think of who he is, but it's just weird. There was actually a guy who was left-handed, but his mum and dad taught him to play right-handed because they thought that you had to play snooker right-handed.
Then he should do ambidextrous.
So he was stronger with his other hand, but because he'd been forced to play with the other hand, he ended up playing with his weaker hand, if that makes sense. A brilliant player, though. Yeah. Shows you what can be done.
Yeah.
This has been great, Craig. It's lovely talking to you today, and enjoy your athletics up in Belfast.
Thank you.
Yeah, enjoy that's a little bit of fun. Book, by the way, is warts and all. It gives all the details on Ronnie's life and is a fascinating read. Great to meet you.
Yeah, no, good
Thanks
to
for
meet
coming
you.
in.
I've really enjoyed this. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now,
cheers.
Don't forget, of course, you can get your hands on this in all major bookshops now. Unbreakable. There you go.
After the break, in fashion.